What's up, guys? How's everyone doing today? Just as a quick show of hands, who here is familiar with Star Atlas? Okay, that's very exciting. Good to hear. Well, my name is Jason Silva, and my background is actually in television. I hosted a TV show called Brain Games on the National Geographic Channel, and I'm immensely passionate about technology and about disruption and about human imagination and human enterprise and what becomes possible on the back of disruptive technologies. Now, I first connected with the folks at Star Atlas when we collaborated together to launch some NFT posters to basically get people excited about Star Atlas, which I believe exists at the intersection of space exploration and human imagination. Now, for the few people that don't know what Star Atlas is, it is a futuristic space exploration game, a fully realized game world built on the Solana blockchain, something that's only possible because of the Solana blockchain. And within this metaverse, people will be able to own assets, spaceships, resources. They'll be able to trade, sell, grow wealth, and explore the universe. And that's what really got me excited about what these guys are doing. Now, I actually think that what's happening here, and the reason that we're calling this event Breakpoint, is because it kind of feels like we're at a threshold crossing. What's happening right now with blockchain and cryptocurrency is simply the next wave in sort of an exponential disruption of society, a sort of game-changing singularity of sorts. And so what I'd like to do today is talk to you a little bit about what I might call the big picture of what's going on here, like where this all begins and where this all is going, right? Because I feel like there's been a lot of technical discussions about what's happening with blockchain and cryptocurrency, but as an artist working and collaborating with Star Atlas, I'm interested in the bigger story of where technology meets human imagination. So for me, this all begins with a passion for human creativity. This all begins with a passion for human imagination, and this has turned into a passion for technology because I believe that technology is the embodiment of human imagination in the world. I believe that technology is the literalization of human creativity in the world. I believe that technology is how we turn the human mind inside out and how we impregnate the world with mind. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the cognitive philosophers David Chalmers and Andy Clark. They wrote a seminal essay called The Extended Mind Thesis, and in it, they describe technology as a scaffolding of the mind and one that extends our thoughts, our reach, and our vision. And it has always been so. If you go back 100,000 years to the savannas of Africa when early hominids first picked up a stick on the ground and we used that stick to reach a fruit on a really high tree branch. We've been using our tools, we've been using our sticks, we've been using our instruments to extend our reach and to transcend our boundaries, right? As the philosopher Marshall McLuhan said, first we build the tools and then the tools build us. From the beginning, every technological innovation, every technological disruption has been a kind of breakpoint, has been a kind of technological singularity, has been like drawing a line in the sand, and once we cross that threshold, the world has never been the same again. So we've always overcome boundaries, and we've always disrupted civilization with our technological innovation. So now let's fast forward to the present day, right? We're living in a time of rapid change. We're living in a time of massive disruption. We're living in a time where billion-dollar corporations disappear out of nowhere and billion-dollar enterprises seem to be born just as quickly. Now, no doubt people in this audience are familiar with why this is so, but to the general public, it just feels like we're getting constantly slapped in the face by transformation and disruption, and everybody is scared that their jobs are going to be replaced, that their enterprises and their ideas are going to become obsolete, and no one knows where this freight train is heading. And so the question is, why are we living in such massively disruptive times? Why are we living in a time of such sort of unsettling vertigo where it feels like the rug is being pulled from underneath our feet? And I imagine many of you know this. It has to do with Moore's Law. It has to do with the exponential nature of technological progress. For the human mind, and we talked about this on Brain Games, the human mind thinks about change linearly. Our intuition about change over time, our intuition about how fast things can scale, our intuition about how fast things can grow is linear. But we do not live in a linear world. Our brain may have evolved in a world that was linear and local, but now we live in a world that is global and that is exponential. And so there's a cognitive dissonance, and it's the reason why the general public hasn't jumped on the crypto train or doesn't understand blockchain, because most people are still thinking linearly and they don't really see beyond the horizon of what they imagine is a linear projection about what tomorrow looks like. But tomorrow is not a linear place that's arriving at a linear speed. Tomorrow is coming at us at an exponential rate. So for those watching at home and those that don't really understand Moore's Law, here's a sort of quick example used by Ray Kurzweil. Ray Kurzweil is the head of engineering at Google, and he uses an example called the 30 steps example. And again, I'm using this example because when you start to imagine what becomes possible with the Metaverse, what becomes possible with virtual reality, what becomes possible with a space exploration game built on the Solana blockchain and the future of virtual economies, you have to understand exponential scale. So, if you take 30 linear steps, you get to 30. 30 linear steps gets you to 30. And that's how we think about change over time. Oh, the next 30 weeks, the next 30 months, I'm making a projection. This is what's going to happen. But if you take the same amount of steps exponentially, right? 30 linear steps gets you to 30. 30 exponential steps gets you to 1 billion. That's the reason why the smartphone in your pocket today that you take for granted and you complain when the battery dies, that smartphone is 1 million times cheaper, 1 million times smaller, and 1,000 times more powerful than what used to be a $60 million supercomputer that was half a building in size 40 years ago. Now again, how often do you think about this when you're trying to sort of grapple with the pace at which things are changing, with the pace at which blockchain is becoming a decentralization, peer-to-peer revolution that's going to upend the economy as we know it, right? Most people just don't see that because they don't think exponentially. But by the same token that a supercomputer the size of this building shrank down to a device that fits in your pocket, in the next 25 years, we'll have brain-machine interfaces and fully immersive game worlds that reality will not be able to compete with. So many people's ambitions today are thwarted because of a lack of opportunity. So many people choose to spend their time in game worlds because reality just can't compete. Right? For most people, the humdrum of the everyday is dull. It's the reason that game worlds are a $1 trillion economy, because they are as big as our imagination. So when I see Star Atlas in its initial inceptions, but its eventual promise, I see a capacity of the human mind to leave behind the banality of the everyday and pretty much upload ourselves into these game worlds. And when you combine the two things that don't have an edge, which is human imagination and the universe, you have Star Atlas. Now, because of blockchain technology, what you do in Star Atlas can have a bleed-through effect into the real world. If you are successful in Star Atlas, you can be successful in the real world. People won't be able to say, stop gaming, go get a job, because those things you do in that game world will probably create more wealth and opportunity than most people might have been privy to in the default 3D meat space. Right? Because of NFTs, because of blockchain, you'll be able to explore the frontiers of the universe, buy spaceships, assume a new identity, expand the repository of your consciousness, trade, build empires, grow civilizations, and more within a fully realized game world. Now, to me, that seems pretty astonishing. It makes me think, as a film lover, of when the film Avatar came out, James Cameron's famous film, and thousands, millions of people were obsessed with this movie, and they used to say when they left the movie theater, they were depressed. They wanted to go back to that world because reality just cannot compete. And to that end, Star Atlas, I think, will sort of be the answer to that question. When reality is dull, when reality doesn't give us a lot of opportunities, when jobs are being taken over by machines and by AI, where do we go? Well, I think the virtual economy of a Metaverse game like Star Atlas, I think, is a great example of where we might go. So I'd like to show you a little video because I speak about, around the world about exponential technologies, and my interest is in expanding people's appreciation of the implications of exponential tech. Everything from digital transformation, virtual reality, Moore's Law, to biotechnology, genetics, turning biology into software, and how that's going to change the world, nanotechnology, and what in Silicon Valley they call the technological singularity. So the first video I just want to play is called The Future of Us, and then I'll talk a little bit more about my collaboration with Star Atlas. Please play the first video.
Talk about the future of us. What does that even mean? The future of us. It's a look at what comes next. It's a look at what might be. Because today, exponentially emerging technologies are transforming what's possible. They're helping us overcome, transcend even biological limitations. The very rules of what it is to be human are up for grabs. We're rewriting the software of life with biotechnology. We're turning matter into a programmable medium with nanotechnology. We're creating sentient minds with artificial intelligence that are not bound by the limitations of biology. These three overlapping revolutions, GNR, genetics, nanotechnology, and robotics, together will be leveraged to lead us towards a black hole-like, impossible to fathom singularity. It's like staring into the sun, a moment of a rousing symphonic climax when all of mind, leveraged and networked together, transcends its biological origins, and we become something more. People worry about the AIs and the them. Well, as Kurzweil says, that's going to be us. The future of us is ours to dream up.
Now, the whole point is that we're on an exponential train, and it's always been, as Marshall McLuhan said, the artists who realize that the future is the present, and they use their work to prepare the grounds for it. So when I see Star Atlas, I see artistry, I see a rendering of human imagination and human possibility and human aspiration. I'm inspired by Marina Benjamin's quote from the book Rocket Men when she says, "When we dream of space, we dream of transcendence, and we dream of what we might become." So in summation, as a sort of ally of what Star Atlas is trying to create, built on the Solana blockchain, a futuristic space exploration game world that will have its own economy with reality bleed-through effects into the default world. If you conquer the universe, if you become immensely wealthy in Star Atlas, that will carry over into what you might call the default world. Now, we've prepared a trailer for Star Atlas to set the mood, and so I want to thank Solana for allowing us to be here. Star Atlas wouldn't exist without the Solana blockchain, and thank you, Star Atlas, for having me share their vision. Please show the Star Atlas trailer.
Miles, the station reported a distress signal last night. They think it came from your dad's ship.
The signal, it came from past the outer ring. How is that even possible?
His ship has been reported missing for 20 years now. Pretty sure he's not coming back.
We go there. We might not come back.
What is this place?
This is going to change everything. They found out we have the map. They're gonna kill us for it.
If that's the case, there's only one thing we can do.
That's Star Atlas, future. Thanks, guys. Cheers.